Okay, dear Dhamma friends, so dear Venerable Sister, so we are after 1 month again meeting at Kalalgoda Meditation Center. So hope you have some written questions, so we'll start the question and answer session with written questions.
Most Venerable Sir, there are altogether 6 questions, 1 general question and 5 questions on sitting and walking meditation. May I read the general question?
Yes.
Bhante, somebody is asking for further guidance, some guidance of how to be an observer and not a doer in Anapanasati. Venerable Bhante, we played the initial instructions CD yesterday evening.
Right.
Perhaps you can explain it a little bit further.
Yes. So related to the sitting meditation, particularly Anapanasati.
The question says some guidance of how to be an observer and not a doer in Anapanasati.
Okay. So don't get discouraged that because sometimes we become doers at the beginning. So it is very natural. So because we are used to be big doers. So we want to achieve something and do something. We don't know how to not to do. So we don't know how to let go. We don't know how to just be. So we are used to do something. So even in the meditation, so when we start, so we try to do something. So at the beginning, we of course have to do a little bit of guiding our mind, but so that actually leads to some kind of forced breathing. So that is the most kind of exhausting experience that one has at the beginning, because we try to be more vigilant, more alert, and over enthusiastic. So we start forced breathing. So that is naturally happens. So don't get discouraged, by the way, because after a while you yourself will understand this is bit difficult, because you easily get tired. You can't go long because it's naturally exhausting to do some forced breathing, because the natural breathing is very much relaxed. So you, for example, when you are sleeping, you don't know at all whether body is breathing. You don't worry at all, and but still when the next day morning you are wake up, so that means body throughout your sleep has done the breathing for yourself. So when it is happening like that, entirely naturally, you don't do anything but let the body to take care of itself. So that we do, that we call as natural breathing or involuntary breathing. So where we don't put our hand. So even though I tell like this, so the beginners, the newcomers, they anyway will trap to the the forceful breathing. So don't worry. So after a while, you yourself has to understand what is the correct amount. So what is how the kind of art that you need to follow. So suppose you are simply, so another way is, rather than immediately trying to do Anapanasati, so first you comfortably sit, just sit comfortably, and then see whether your clothes are fairly loose, in the sense, it is not tight but relaxed, and there is no any kind of disturbance coming due to the kind of uncomfortable posture, but rather you feel really comfortable in the sitting posture. So you need to spend some time in adjusting yourself. So once you are done with it, so rather than immediately going to Anapanasati, just see how you feel. For example, that when you are sitting, so you can see that you can feel your legs are touching to your cushion, maybe touching to the floor. And if you are keeping one hand on the other, then you may feel the 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 heat of the other hand. So likewise, just spend a couple of minutes in a way kind of a body scanning. You are simply being aware what are the kind of sensations in the body. So this very much take you to the present and makes you little bit relaxed. So rather than being over enthusiastic, so just relax, just sit, nothing to do, just to relax. So and just be aware how you feel. So you may feel, okay, body has little bit of pain, somewhere it is touching, somewhere you feel hot, now the weather is fairly hot, this environment is not so comfortable. So you start feeling those uncomfortable feelings. It is not really comfortable now in this environment, so it is very hot. So you may feel the hot, the heat. So it is all right, because it's a sensation. So you are not in the past, you are not daydreaming about a really cool environment, but you are in the present moment experiencing what is there. So after that, just checking whether you feel some kind of sensation at your nostril. So so just checking whether you feel some kind of sensation at the nostril. So sometimes for the beginners, Anapanasati might be a little bit difficult. For them, even they can check whether you feel rising and falling of the abdomen. So that is also quite well. So if you can feel that as you breathe in, that the abdomen, your tummy simply expands and it is rising, and after a while as you breathing out, it falls. So if you feel the bodily sensation related to that, that's also fine. That means you are slowly you are being in touch with your body. So then little bit of advancement is the sensation of the breathing. So where in the rising and falling, you keep your attention at the abdomen level, say not at the chest level. So don't misunderstand, not at the chest level, little bit below the chest, at the abdomen level, and you feel that as you breathe in, the abdomen will expand. As you breathe out, it will fall, it will contract. So after that, if you like, even you can continue in this rising and falling, because it itself is a very good meditation object. So that is what actually practice in Burma, Myanmar, because they don't much respect Anapanasati. But Anapanasati, of course, is a very good meditation object. So if you are used to it, so then it's a matter of taking your attention little bit up and being aware at some kind of sensation at the nostril. So it may be when you are breathing in, it may be a little bit of touching sensation, some kind of feeling, say hot air or cold air, and when you are breathing out, you may feel hot air. So maybe a rubbing sensation at the nostril. So these kind of subtle parameters indicates that either you are breathing in or you are breathing out. So, and once you are sort of comfortable, so more and more try to make it happen without your intervention. So let the body softly breathe in, let the body take care of itself. You just be an external observer. So that makes the mind more and more relaxed. So as you know, so meditation is for relaxation. So if we are making too much effort and after meditation, if we are tensed, so that means somewhere we went wrong. So those are indicators that we need to do some adjustments. So we need to find out where I went wrong. So all these things are not actually sort of things to worry, but kind of milestones in the path. So all these things, through these obstacles, we are learning. So you need to adjust a little bit and check what is the proper balance I need to maintain. And again, if you are too lax, then you will fall asleep. So you need to be awake. You need to be awake, but not doing forced breathing, but be fully alert with relaxed mood. So we'll see. I mean, it's a kind of a art. So with time you will learn it. So don't be hurry. Even if you fail, don't worry. So slowly you will get it. Yes, we'll go to the next one.
Sir, during sitting meditation, it is very hard for me to stay with the breath once my focus is established on the breath. I lose the focus after 2 to 3 breaths. Do you have a recommendation how I can continuously extend the duration of being with my breath?
The walking meditation, is it?
Sitting meditation.
So, please repeat the question.
During sitting meditation, it is very hard for me to stay with the breath. Once my focus is established on the breath, I lose the focus after 2 to 3 breaths. Do you have a recommendation?
Okay, yeah.
How I can continuously extend the duration of being with my breath?
Yeah, I mean, basically these are problems that we face as beginners. Say, because our mind, kind of a jumpy mind, so we can't keep mind on breath for more than 1 minute. And then it jumps to another object. So without our knowledge, it's with another thing. That something kind of thinking, distraction, or might have gone to a sound, or might have gone to a pain. So like that, the mind has gone to some other thing. So, but the important thing is, so suppose now you are lost in something, and after a while, immediately you will get a glimpse, okay, now I have to be with the breath. So you establish mindfulness. So at that moment, try yourself again to restart. So don't worry that you have been now drifted to some other object rather than totally be with the breath. So we expect kind of a really perfect meditation that from the very first breath, so till the last second, I have to be with the breath. So it can't happen. So don't worry. So time to time, okay, mind drifts, mind goes to another object. So but let it be. The main issue is that we are so much critical about it. So when it is going, we are cursing ourselves. Oh, I have to be here. Why I do this? So it's too much remorse coming in. So rather than just, like a kind mother looking after a sort of a naughty child, so just look after your mind. So when it is drifted, okay, so after a while you will understand, okay, it has to be with the breath, but not now it is not there. So from that moment, be aware of the breath and continue. Okay, now you are again going few steps, few more breaths. So again it, without your knowledge, again it has gone to another object, another distraction. So after a while again you will get mindfulness, establish mindfulness. So from that point again you go through, you restart. So as you do it again and again, so your lost period will reduce. So that is the advancement. So at the beginning, so you may be lost for say 10 minutes, that's the maximum, say for example. But as your mindfulness improves, so this lost period reduce. So you may be lost say 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, you understand, okay, I just came here to be aware of the, say, just to do meditation rather than fantasizing. So you again establish mindfulness and you continue. So but as you practice, so this lost period reduce, and so it may come to a stage that immediately when the mind drifts, you will understand. So then there is no, at that stage there is no kind of a hassle. So you have some kind of mastery about your mind, so you can continue. So don't worry too much about the distractions, kind of a jumpy mind. So that is where we start. So as myself or any other person, everyone starts there. So don't expect mind to go on a kind of a railway track without so it will never happen. So it's a kind of a tedious job at the beginning to again and again bring back the mind to the object. And mostly our most respected Dhammajiva Bhante used to say that the most kind of powerful hindrance is not the drifting or the distraction, but our side, the remorse, the kind of regret that we have in our mind. Okay, it has gone again, so I have to be here. So it has again gone, so it will never be successful. So like that we criticize ourselves. So that actually give a kind of a negative feeling. So rather than doing that, so okay, if you could stay at say 5 breaths within 1 hour, just 5 breaths. Okay, say 5 breaths. Okay, just start like that. So there is no kind of a fast track in meditation. So more you learn, more you do mistakes, so more you understand what are the paths available to come back to the correct path. What are the say techniques available. So as you go along, you will succeed. So don't worry too much.
Venerable Bhante, walking meditation. I started my walking meditation last night. I felt the hardness of the sand against my feet, but I was also constantly looking down at my feet as I walked. Today, I began looking ahead, not at my feet, and tried to feel my way through the path. I felt my ankle become loose as my foot left the ground and my toes stretched forward to feel what was on the ground. I felt the hardness of the sand, but it wasn't as hard as last night. Sometimes I could even feel the arch of my foot on the ground. I felt comfortable walking like this.
So, I mean, it is quite good, but I feel some kind of expectation there that you felt last night the sand is fairly smooth, but today it is not that smooth. So, why we expect? So, let it be gross. So, we don't need to control. I mean, if it is smooth, let it be smooth. If it is gross, let it be gross. So, if it is wet, let it be wet. If it is dry, let it be dry. So, it's a matter of, I mean, it's just a feeling. So, why are we coloring the feeling? So, why are we expecting smoothness? So, smoothness, roughness, softness, dryness, wetness, all are just properties of sand. So why I worry about the properties of the sand? so and again, just an improvement. So rather than trying to analyze sand, so just now take your attention more towards your body. Now sand is just an external object. So through that you understand, okay, now I feel softness. So through that now I feel hardness. Through that now I feel kind of wetness or softness. So that kind of way, so you are bringing back more attention to your body rather than trying to find the properties of the sand. So you more focus towards your body. So now those are all external parameters giving you more and more information. So they simply triggers information and you are simply feeling them. So we have no control at all what they will trigger. So we think that we have control. So the sand has to be smooth and glossy and everything we condition. So let it be really unconditioned, really play as it is. And it's a matter of maintaining some kind of equanimity and just feeling it. And since this is the first question and answer session, let me a little bit explain about walking meditation for the benefit of the beginners. So in the walking meditation, so we go to the walking path, and then just to being familiar with the walking path, we simply walk from this end to the other end, say 1 minute or 2 minutes. So this is a matter of being aware, being a bit familiar with the walking path. So still no much meditation. And once you are comfortable, familiar with the walking path, then say after you come into one end, then you try to be present. I mean, establish mindfulness. So if you are now, you know that you are standing at one end of the walking path, and just feel that your body feels your weight to the soles of the foot. And you know that you are not now walking, you are not sleeping, you are not sitting, but standing. Now slowly, in a kind of a typical phase, now you know what is the natural speed of your walk. It is not too fast, it is not too slow, but maintain some kind of a natural speed that you are used to. And let the body walk, and as it walks, check that when your left foot touches the floor, and you simply knot it like left. So I am just giving the instruction for the beginners. So, and when the left foot touches the floor, just knot it at the very moment that it is touching. The very moment when it is touching, you get a big impact to the sole of the feet. So then, so at that point, knot it like left. And when the right foot touches, knot it like right. So again, when it is left foot touching, it is left. Right foot touching, right. So like that, keep it extremely simple. So this is a kind of a rule that we need to understand. If we are making it complicated, then you are not getting the benefit. So nowadays we don't like to appreciate simplicity, because we need to have a kind of a extremely difficult formula and trying to solve it while walking. So it is not the case. So if you can be really simple, just be with the direct touch. Just be with when you are touching the left foot, just be with that feeling. So when the right foot touching, just be with that feeling. So if it is too distracting, then label it. So when it is left foot is touching, okay, you label it as left. When the right foot is touching, label it as right. So it's a kind of a confirmation, sort of confirming that through the mind also. Now the foot which you have touched is the left, which you have touched is the right. So it's a kind of a confirmation. It helps at the beginning. Suppose you are comfortable or successful in doing it for 7 steps, and then it is distracted and you lost in thoughts or sights or whatever thing. So again, after a while, you again come back. Again you establish mindfulness. Don't worry. Let the body walk. Now don't stop. Let the body walk, but mind is not with walk, but it is distracted. But at the very moment when it is established mindfulness again, now be aware about the walking. So it is not like sitting. The body is kind of in the continuous movement. And while it is moving, we have to quickly get the information. We have to quickly get the sensations. Be aware of the sensations. It's a kind of a playful thing. Unlike the sitting, walking is really interesting in that manner, because body is in the action, and it's a matter of our mind to quickly be with the body and be with the present moment and get the information. So now if you are more and more convenient, more and more comfortable, and you can establish mindfulness fairly from this end to the other end, no distractions, and even if distractions happen, it is not much bothering you, but you are fairly comfortable from this end to the other end for about 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever time. And if you are successful to that extent, now it's the time to drop the knotting. Now let go knotting, don't do knotting, but simply be aware of the sensation. So more and more do like that, then your information, the detail that you get starts increasing. Say at the beginning you simply felt the touch sensation at your soles, but then you may get more information like tips of your toes, maybe at the heel, so and the sides of the foot, and all these subtle information starts coming in. So for that you need to stop this knotting. So, but at the beginning it's really helpful, it's a very good tool, but later on you have to let it go, drop it, and then you be completely with the sensations, completely with what you feel throughout your body. So that is how you are advancing. Yes.
Venerable Sir, while walking meditation, I felt that the left leg was more steady and balanced than the right. When I was walking the 3 stages, my mind is more steady while on walking meditation than on sitting meditation. Second question, how can I have more concentration on my sitting meditation?
So, information given about walking and asking about sitting. So, actually, if you are comfortable, if you are successful in walking, so you can bring that develop attention to sitting. So, after you do successful walking, so don't sort of do a kind of a distractive thing, but rather take that developed concentration, develop mindfulness, and slowly come and sit. So without breaking the mindfulness. So at the beginning it is, in a way, you have to be a bit careful. So you have to be carefully stop walking, but now still you are coming to your cushion while walking. So even with that instant, not in the walking path, but now you are coming to the sitting hall. And during that time also you have to be mindful that now. And each and every step you have to be mindful and be aware. Now you are preparing your seat, you are coming a little bit front, okay, you are keeping one hand to your cushion and you are lowering your body. Now your buttocks are touching the cushion and you are preparing your legs and you are keeping your hands one on top of the other. Now you are closing your eyes. Each and every information. So if you are maintain that kind of continuity, so then it's a matter of smooth transition from walking to sitting. So then you can bring your attention somewhat unbroken to sitting. So that basically improves your sitting. So it will naturally happen. So you don't need to force to happen. So when you are comfortable with walking, that indicates that you will be successful in sitting as well. So they are actually helping each other. Yes. So please, if you need more information, please raise your hand and ask. So feel free to ask any question.
Venerable Bhante, I am unable to practice watching the breath at the nostril and have been practicing the rise and fall of the breath at the abdomen. However, after a while of watching the breath, it becomes so faint, it disappears and I can't note it. I was told that when this happens, I should note sitting, touching of my body to the ground, but I can't do this as I find it unhelpful. What can I do when the breath becomes so fine that I can't notice it? Should I note that there is no breath? And if so, what should my point of concentration be? Alternately, is it all right to focus on the rise and fall of the chest? I was told not to do the above, but to concentrate on the abdomen only.
Yes. So actually the progress either in the Anapanasati, breathing meditation, or rising and falling are very much similar. So rising and falling also, since I just for explanation, so as you breathe in, so you understand or you feel that the abdomen shifting forward and you feel it like a tightening sensation, kind of rubbing or tough kind of movement. So like that, different manners are there. So different people will feel indifferently. It doesn't matter. So there is no rule telling that everybody has to feel tightness. There is no such rule. For one person, the movement is more predominant. For another person, tightness may be more easy to understand. So like that, there are differences. So those are, small things, nothing to worry. And then when it is rising, so similarly you can note it like rising. When it is falling, you can note it like falling. So rising, falling, rising, falling. So you do the same technique in the sitting meditation as well. So this is for the beginners. So because by labeling in the rising and falling also, it avoids distraction. It stops distractions and keep your mind more focused on rising and falling. Now again, if the mind distracts, so be aware, and rather once the mindfulness established, again start from where you were. Suppose now you are fully aware about rising and falling, and then try to see whether you can drop noting and simply be with this rising and falling, like I have explained in the walking meditation. Just check whether without any noting, just be aware with the rising, complete cycle of rising. So it start very smoothly. It is the sensation or the feeling slowly increases, and it is coming to a kind of a threshold, and then it is diminishing, and then again the rising completely vanish. Now there is no rising, and kind of a rest period, and again now the contraction happens. So now you start feeling the contraction, the lightness of the abdomen, and then it is that feeling increases, and then again it's slowly finishing and kind of diminishing, reducing, and then falling, finish. So if you can maintain your attention throughout this complete rising cycle, complete falling cycle, so that means now you are fully with that object. So very similar to Anapanasati. So if you are successful in this, now naturally as a law, kind of a natural thing, so it will start slow, further smoothen, further become softer, so further become subtle. So now mind also becomes subtle, the breathing also becomes very, very subtle. So let it happen. So don't make it gross. So don't try to make feel more. So at the beginning you may get a fair amount of feeling, but as you progress, this feeling reduce. So that is why we tell it's become more and more subtle. So that means it's difficult to catch. So that is necessary. So the sensation is really reducing. The abdominal movement also is fairly smooth, and your mind also becomes fairly calmed down now. And as the question explains, at a time you can't distinguish whether it is rising or falling. So it's a good sign that you have now reached a certain amount of concentration. So at that time, don't try to give another gross object as an object. So because this is a tool that we are using to take to these stages. Now you have done the job correctly, and it has taken you step by step to this, from gross feeling to the subtle feeling, kind of a gross mind to a very sensitive, sharp mind. So once you reach there are several options. So if you can maintain that state, so there is no gross object for the mind, already this rising and falling fades away, and there is no any other object coming in, and you are also not introducing another object. So these areas please carefully understand. So once you reach this stage, sometimes we can introduce a new object. Okay, you put your attention to the body. Okay, you can go to the touch sensations of the buttocks, touch sensation of the legs, hands, or whatever thing you can do. Or you can do simply noting like sitting, or some kind of that kind of noting you can introduce. But those are actually taking you little bit away from the path. Because now you are coming in a naturally, or rather gradually you are coming to a subtle stage, and rather than maintaining that subtle stage, again you are going to a different path and taking a gross object. So try to maintain this subtle object. it is fairly difficult. It's a kind of a challenge. Because now we are trying to maintain mindfulness without an object. So that is where we are reaching. So without an object, it is not a must to have an object to establish mindfulness. So this is really interesting part in meditation. Only in the Vipassana meditation. So in the Samatha meditation, you need to have an object. But here in Vipassana, you can have mindfulness without an object. So you are reaching these stages slowly, step by step. So encourage those things. And the main issue, main problem the yogis, so we face there is the sleepiness. Because we have nothing to do. So if there was an object, so at least we could feel it. Now there is nothing to feel now. What we have taken as the anchor point of the mind has even fades away. Now there is no place for the mind to establish. So mind is now in a kind of a difficult situation. There is no sight to see, there is no sound to hear, and we are somehow get rid of all these distractions and slowly taken to a very neutral object, subtle object, and it also now disappeared. Now we are to hang on. So we need to introduce something. So don't introduce something. So just try to be without an object. So that is a really interesting part of mind. So at that time, so your mind starts giving you so many opinions. So okay, do this, do that, do this, do that. Okay, now put it to a posture. Okay, start new breathing, take it up to the chest, and all are nonsense. All giving wrong instructions. So, but if you are ready to get this challenge without an object, establishing mindfulness, maintaining mindfulness, so you will be going to an entirely different paradigm. So that is the kind of answer I would like to give.
Final question. Venerable Sir, sitting meditation. I have been meditating for some time now, and the in-breath and out-breath is not visible, other than on a very rare occasion. I find it fascinating to watch the blank, empty state of mind which occurs from time to time, along with the non-stop stream of thoughts that arise and fade away. I feel no regret or remorse when the thoughts creep into the empty state of mind and create chaos, but rather find it incredible watching this endless scenario. Walking meditation. When at home, I sometimes walk backwards, lifting, moving, placing, and able to walk quite fast and find it challenging. Your valuable advice, Venerable Sir.
So we'll go first to the walking meditation question. So now you are, according to the question, now you are able to see your mind from mind. So you are coming to a kind of a level. Now you have gone in a fairly good state that slowly you are fully aware of the body and say Anapanasati or rising and falling or whatever thing. And now that object has faded away, disappeared. But now you are fully aware of this space. And while experiencing it, now thoughts are appearing in the mind. So you can start kind of a Chittanupassana here, where you see these thoughts just as thoughts, not as your thoughts, just mere thoughts, as someone else's thoughts. So it's really interesting, because you didn't invite them, but they came by their own. So why we make it our own? So let that be someone else's thoughts. So due to causes, they have arisen. So you are simply watching like a movie. Okay, movie is simply playing, but don't get trapped in the movie. So don't too much attach to the movie. Don't think you are in movie. So mostly, when they are laughing, we also laugh. When they are crying, we also cry. So that is the lost. We are lost in the object. So sometimes, if the mindfulness is less, so while we are watching these thoughts, unknowingly we are in it. So that is the tricky area here. So, but if you can step back and look these thoughts as someone else's thoughts, you will feel, you can really laugh at your own. I mean, you can have a really interesting drama without paying any cent. Without going to a movie, you can see a beautiful movie, and so simply, and don't try to sort of cut it off also, and don't maintain a kind of a martial type of law here. So you just relax and watch and let it happen. You keep the mind open, and you are still mindful, not in a extremely alert state, but in a relaxed state, allowing the mind to talk. And now, say thoughts are coming, and you are simply watching where it is going, how they are coming. So what are the roots there? So was it kind of a craving thought? Was it kind of affirming the ego? Was it due to kind of hatred or say gain and fame? So you can really get a beautiful insights by watching these thoughts. So this is a extremely interesting area in the Vipassana meditation. So basically we recommend that only when you are having very good mindfulness. Otherwise, even though it is really interesting, if we are not capable of maintaining mindfulness, maintaining kind of equanimity, very good mindfulness, then we can't do it. So therefore, at the beginning, we always recommend Kaya Anupassana, Anapanasati, or rising and falling, or posture, this four elements. So all these are direct feelings where you are watching your bodily sensations, whatever related to the body, through the mind. But this is a kind of an advanced state where you are trying to watch your mind from the mind and still not distracted, still not trapped in the thoughts. So, extremely interesting area. So, it's as you go along, so this becomes a kind of a natural habit that you are watching the mind throughout the day. It has to happen also. Yes, so that ends the written questions. So if you have any other question or if you need any clarification, so I welcome you. Yes.
Would you be able to explain a little bit, now the last question that you answered, where you mentioned that once your mind starts going down a certain thought, when you start thinking about something, especially when you're doing the sitting meditation, find that happens quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Is it okay to allow the mind to continue to go down that path and have a thought process, and sometimes it goes into finding solutions to certain things?
Yes.
Is it okay to allow that, or should you bring the mind back?
No, actually when you come to this state, now you know, if you can remember the path how you come here, and you had a physical object, say breathing for example, and you were establishing mindfulness on this physical breathing, the sensation, and it slowly diminished, and now it's gone away. Now we are simply watching and maintaining kind of a space, empty mind, and to that empty mind now thoughts are coming. But the beautiful thing is, if you are mindful, you are not strengthening those thoughts. So we are in a kind of situation, only when we are feeding thoughts, only when we are strengthening thoughts, then only they are continuing. If you can step back and look at them, who is feeding them? Did you get the point? Now, if you step back and simply watch these thoughts as someone else's thoughts, who is feeding, who is strengthening these thoughts? Is there anyone strengthening? Is there anyone from outside putting these thoughts? So no one is putting these thoughts, right? I mean, due to our habits, what we call as asava anusaya, latent tendencies, so these thoughts are coming. But now we are watching them. Now we are simply watching them without getting troubled through this. I mean, we are not attached to them, we are not criticize them, but maintains kind of equanimity, but fully alert. So then we are not feeding them. So for those thoughts to continue, say for example 10 minutes, just for example. So we have to be there. We have to encourage those thoughts. Say certain thoughts are coming. So now I am interested in those thoughts. Okay, it has happened like that. It happened like this. It happened like this. So now I am encouraging them. So I am in the scene. I am in the drama. I am not in the seat, but in the on the stage now. So, but be on the seat. So simply be a watcher. Simply be an observer rather than going to the stage. So you simply let them play, and you are simply seeing without much interest. And more you watch, you use the interest. So, and once you lose the interest, they will stop the play. So, are you getting the point? So, if we are watching with clapping and hooray and all those things, then only they'll come to the next scene. But if we are simply not interested, so if you are simply walking in a kind of an empty mind, in a kind of bold way, so are they ready to play the next movie? No spectators. So something like that. So simply the mind is now due to certain causes, certain thoughts happen in the mind, but we are not feeding them, we are not encouraging them, we are not going into that, not going into it, not taking in part of it, but simply watching them, and they come and they play a little, and not getting strength from ourselves, they fades away. It's a natural rule. If they come, they have to go away if we are not encouraging that. So it's a very beautiful lesson, kind of a rule that we need to learn. So that is where we understand, okay, whatever arises will pass away. Whatever arises will pass away. This has to be very, kind of a throughout watching our mind, you can get a very interesting, insight to your mind that so they will not stop, or they will don't play too long if I am not taking part, if I am not encouraging those thoughts. For example, say some hatredful thoughts happen about an enemy, and you understand, okay, now hate has arisen, anger has arisen. Now if you step back and look at it, and you understand how they are arising, how they are trying to take you in, how they are tempting you, but still you are in equanimous state, not going into it. So that is why the mindfulness is more important here. That is why we encourage yogis who already have some developed mindfulness to do this process. Because even though we try at the beginning, without our knowledge, we go into it. We get trapped in it. So then we are encouraging, then we go on for a ride. That is unavoidable. So, but when we have mindfulness, we are not doing it. We can see those thoughts as thoughts. We are not bothered by those thoughts. We are not identifying with those thoughts. They are mere thoughts, just thoughts. Arisen due to causes, and since we are not feeding them, since we are not encouraging them, simply they will fade away. So it's a very beautiful lesson, and more you understand, yankincha samudaya dhammang sabbantang nirodha dhamma. So that is something that the Buddha says, the stream winner will understand. So you can see the depth of the insight. So we will see at the very early stage as a natural thing, but more and more you learn. So you will not bothered about those thoughts much, because you know they have arisen due to causes, and they will simply fade away. They are not mine. So it's a very interesting, very deep insight. So that's the kind of answer.
I had one more question.
Yes.
Now, when you actually focus on the breathing meditation, I notice that I find my breathing is on the nasal passage first.
Sorry?
I notice my breath in the nasal passage first. But then I also notice the expansion of my chest. And then when I'm exhaling, I notice the breath coming out with it's warmer air coming out through the nostrils. And also the chest contracting. Is that too much to focus, or should I just focus only on the nostrils?
Yeah, better maintain mindfulness the nostril. So it is true that we can get too much information, too much detail. We can be aware of nostril or the breath sensation and the bodily that we get some kind of expansion, the abdomen expands. So that means you are capable of doing it. Now it's a matter of developing kind of a concentration. So for that, the best thing is to maintain only at the nostril area. So it will develop in the samatha side as well as in the vipassana side. So if you have skill, so definitely you can establish mindfulness at the nostril area and be aware of the breath, the subtleties. So whether it is cold, as you explained, whether it is cold or hot, or how it is rubbing, or those subtle information is more interesting, because it is on the other hand, the chest area, the information, the sensation are a little bit gross, but here it is more subtle. So if more and more we develop that subtlety, so it's a kind of a easy path to fades away this object. So fading away of the chest area, it's not encouraged, because that's why the rising and falling of the abdomen is all right. But if you are moving to the chest area, even though you are comfortable at the beginning, in the long run you will get into some side effects. So it's get into the earth element and it has some side effects. So it is not a good thing to focus on the chest area, rather be on the breath or the abdominal movement. Yes. Okay. So any other question? Yes. Yeah.
This is in relation to the previous question.
Yes.
About the breath not being there in the rise and fall. What do I do when that happens?
Why you need to do anything? So do you need to do something?
No, I can stay without, but then my mind wanders. What?
Mind wanders. So that means still. So let me clarify the question. Now, say you are doing in-breath and out-breath, right? So, abdominal, okay, rising and falling. So now your attention is here, rising and falling, and it disappears now totally. So how long are you practicing? In the sense, how long are you practicing? So several years, or are you a newcomer?
Practicing for several years.
Several years. Say 3 years or 4 years, like that?
2001.
Okay, so then it's a good time. Okay, so have you done, say once you reach this stage, have you done kind of moving through the body and observing the sensations? Have you done like that before? No. Sorry?
In what sense?
What sense? Say. So anyway, so you are simply paying attention to rising and falling, and you can be aware from the very beginning of the rising, the improving, increasing, and then the fading away. The rising cycle is finished, and now there's a resting period. That also you understand, and then the falling, the full cycle you are aware, and as you go on, this disappears, and you can't understand whether it is rising or falling, and you are simply in a state, without a kind of a anchoring point for the mind. Okay, so if you are, say, are you coming this state frequently now?
It was happening like that, but then I didn't know what.
what to do. Yes.
Yes.
So,
And I just.
yes. So anyway, so once you reach this state, so the proper channel, or proper approach is, so if you can maintain this stage, say for example 15 minutes, so then you checking whether you feel some kind of sensation in the body, and your developed attention, you can point to that place. Okay, you have already developed attention, you can point to that place and again watch that. Now you get some object there. Now again that object also diminishes, also fades away. And again you come to that resting area. Okay, again now suppose you get another object. You move your attention to that object. And you are being aware of that. And again it fades away and you come to this resting. So, have you done that kind of thing?
When it happened, I was told to concentrate on the touching and the, but I can't do that. I get very distracted with that, and then
distracted in the sense
I lose concentration completely. That calmness completely goes off, and I can't get.
Now this calmness, what you are talking is in the tranquility meditation, samatha meditation, where you are simply absorbed to one object. But in the vipassana meditation, we are not trying to be with one object. So we are simply observing a changing objects. So it's nothing to worry. So now you need to shift your focus from this samatha related path to a vipassana path. It's unbroken mindfulness is there, but the object is changing. Now, say for example, now this object already fades away, all changed, all disappeared. Now suppose you are changing your attention to a touching sensation of the cushion, for example. Your leg is touching. So now you can fairly feel it. And you simply focus that. And if your mindfulness is very good and you can't understand whether it is your leg or hand or your body, tummy or whatever thing, that typical concepts that we are given already gone. There's some kind of sensation is there. So you are coming to a very primitive level. Simply a sensation is there, but the leg, hand, tummy, all those names that we have given, all gone. You can't differentiate. But now this sensation become totally your world. Nothing else. You are simply being with this touch sensation, and you are simply 100% observing it. And if you are observing it like that, then rather than to this, say at the beginning, say you might feel the kind of heat develop there, or kind of rubbing sensation develop there, touching sensation develop there, or kind of a movement there, kind of a feeling there, pain there, irritation. So these are the primitives of the feeling. So if you can reach that stage, be with it. So, and even that, now let me explain. Now rising and falling, for example, is a gross object. So it takes, say, 5 seconds to rise, 5 seconds to fall. But once you reach this stage, where simply you have some hot feeling, this hot feeling takes milliseconds to change, nanoseconds to change. So if your mind has so sharp, mindfulness is so sharp, you can get this subtlety. So that is subtle nature, rising and falling very fast. So even that fades away. Again you are coming to a state, there is no object. And no need, I am explaining these things for you to show the path, to explain the path. And even after you observe these things, again you come to that resting area without an object. And if you can maintain, so after going through different objects, again you come into the same place. And as you stay there, if you can maintain without this object, that's also fine. You don't need to have an object to establish mindfulness. And as you said, it may be a distracting thing for you to go for an object at that time. But it does not mean that you need to have an object forever to anchor the mind. Now that is where you are right now. So you need to have an anchoring point for the mind. But it is not necessary. So if the rising and falling as totally fades away, so and while it is fading away also, you can see how the diminishing part, the falling part, the rising and falling, the falling part. Not much on the rising part or the falling part. More and more falling part and more resting. More and more kind of equilibrium where no motion like, no movement, but just rest. Can you maintain that state?
How to do that?
So, no, once you reach there, the art is not to do anything. That is the most difficult task. So we need to do something. We need to have an object. So those are the rules we have. Understand? So for the meditation, we need to have an object. So we need to do something. Now, once you reach there, you don't have an object. You don't have to do anything. So that is the most beautiful part. So once you reach this stage, so you sort of encourage the mind. So I don't need to do anything. I don't need any other object. I don't need to have any jhana. I don't need to have any maggapala. I don't need anything. I am just happy with just being. So it's a very beautiful state where the 5 khandhas, 5 khandhas are slowly all diminishing. So I have to explain through the Dhamma. Now in the Rupa Khandha, the matter, that is what already faded, rising and falling. It's already gone. Vedana, you don't have a feeling right now. Sanya, there is no coming any scenery or whatever thing coming to the mind, but simply empty. Mind also empty. And Vijnana, in the sense that you are not thinking. Your mind, now check your mind especially. If your mind is talking, then still you need to develop. Suppose your mind also still now. Mind also not talking. Inner chatter completely stopped. And now it's the sankhara. The fourth one we have to be careful. So that is what always telling us, okay, do this, do that. Okay, you need to take this object, that object. So that is the sankhara. We need to do something. So that is where we are not doing anything. So sankhara skandha, the volitional, this what you call as the preparations or fabrication. So here, once you reach this stage, don't fabricate anything. Don't do any preparation. Don't create anything. Just be as it is. So if you can do like that, you are getting all these 5 khandhas at the very minimum state. You can maintain that. So this is a kind of a advanced state that you are reaching through vipassana. So really, and one challenge we have is, once you reach this stage, you need to do something. So now you know that you don't need to do anything. And another problem we have is the mind starts sleeping, because it's a very subtle, just a boring state, extremely boring. Because we like to do something, we like to see something, enjoy, listen, and all nonsense are there. But all gone now. So it's extremely boring. So if you can maintain this, so you are at the very minimum level of sankhara, minimum level of fabrication. You can try that. Yes. Interesting. Very good. Okay, I think 2:20. Right? So I think, so we'll conclude today at the question and answer session. I think there is no any other question. So we'll meet here again at 5 p.m. for the Dhamma talk. Correct? Okay. Thank you very much for listening.